In the swinging 70s, the tennis world was abuzz with the gender-bending battle of the century. Enter Bobby Riggs, a charismatic showman, and Margaret Court, the formidable Aussie tennis sensation. With charisma that could rival a stand-up comedian, Riggs set the stage for a match that would change the game forever. After Margaret Court had risen to become the top-ranked women's tennis player in the world, Bobby Riggs, who had been absent from professional tennis for quite some time, issued a bold challenge. Riggs confidently asserted that men's tennis was vastly superior to the women's game, and boldly proclaimed that even at the age of 55, he could defeat any female tennis player. This historic match took place on Mother's Day in Ramona, California, and was aptly dubbed the Mother's Day Massacre. In a dominant display of skill and strategy, Bobby Riggs convincingly defeated Margaret Court with a final score of 6-2, 6-1 in 1973. The tennis world couldn't believe it. Now let's hop over to match number 2. If you thought Bobby Riggs' triumph over Margaret Court was a fluke, think again. Enter Billie Jean King, a fierce advocate for gender equality, and a woman who knew how to handle the pressure. The stage was set for a showdown that would redefine the term Battle of the Sexes. Initially, Billie Jean King had declined Bobby Riggs' challenge, but witnessing his victory over Margaret Court ignited a sense of purpose in her. She recognized that this match wasn't just about tennis. It symbolized a larger battle for women's tennis and women's liberation as a whole in 1973. The showdown unfolded at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. King faced an early deficit, trailing 3-2 in the first set. However, she displayed remarkable resilience and determination, mounting a spectacular comeback. King ultimately won the match in straight sets, with scores of 6-4, 6-3, 6-3. This victory marked a pivotal moment not only in women's tennis, but also in the broader landscape of gender equality and women's rights, challenging prevailing views and opinions. Riggs, the man with a mouth as big as his game, had met his match in a determined woman who would become a legend. Now, on to match number 3. Fast forward to the 90s, where we find tennis legends Jimmy Connors and Martina Navratilova ready to duke it out. Connors, known for his fiery personality, faced off against Navratilova, a tennis icon with a relentless drive to win. It was a match that had fans on the edge of their seats. Dubbed the Battle of the Champions, this highly anticipated match was originally scheduled to feature Jimmy Connors facing off against Monica Seles, the reigning women's world number 1. However, a twist in the tale occurred when Martina Navratilova, who had previously rejected offers from John McEnroe, agreed to take on Connors, casting it as a battle of egos. To level the playing field, the match between Connors and Navratilova was played under a unique set of hybrid rules. Connors was restricted to only one serve per point, while Navratilova was allowed to aim for half of the doubles alleys. Despite these adjustments, Connors emerged victorious with a final score of 7-5, 6-2. But the Battle of the Sexes was far from over. Brace yourselves for a showdown that will leave you awestruck. Now let's fast forward to 1998, where Karsten Braasch, a name you might not have heard of, took on two tennis juggernauts, Serena and Venus Williams back-to-back. Braasch was no slouch himself, but this challenge seemed like mission impossible. It all went down during the Australian Open at Melbourne Park, when Venus and Serena Williams made a bold assertion, claiming that they could take on and defeat any male player ranked outside the top 200. Seizing the opportunity, Karsten Braasch, then ranked at 203, decided to challenge both of them to test their claim. In what seemed like a light-hearted encounter, Braasch, who humorously remarked that he was playing more like someone ranked around 600, took on the challenge. The results, however, were surprising. He defeated Serena with a score of 6-1. and Venus with a score of 6-2. The aftermath of these unexpected defeats led the Williams sisters to revise their statement, instead claiming they could beat any male player outside the top 350. It was a moment that left the tennis world speechless and opened up debates that still echo in sports today. Fast forward to the present day, where the battle of the sexes tradition lives on. In 2023, we witnessed Ghazouani Durand take on the formidable Mirra Andreeva. Durand, a rising star in the tennis world, faced the determined Andreeva in a match that had the world buzzing. In a captivating showdown, 23-year-old Ghazouani Durand, just outside the top 1,000 on the ATP Tour, but an impressive 74th rank on the ITF circuit, stepped onto the court to face off against 46th ranked 16-year-old Mirra Andreeva. The match got off to an exciting start, with Andreeva breaking Durand in the very first game. However, the French local quickly rallied, breaking back and surging to a 3-2 lead. The first set turned into a fierce battle, with both players giving it their all. Ultimately, it was Ghazouani Durand who clinched the set with a final score of 7-5. As they entered the second set, Andreeva found it challenging to keep up with her opponent's pace, managing to secure just 2 games. Durand continued to display his dominance, securing the second set with a score of 6-2. An interesting twist in the tale followed. Despite her loss, Mirra Andreeva was awarded the winner's trophy, adding an unexpected twist to the match's conclusion. Now let's take a step back and reflect on what these epic showdowns mean for the world of tennis and beyond. These battle of the sexes weren't just about who could hit the ball harder. They were about breaking down barriers, challenging stereotypes, and showcasing incredible talent of athletes regardless of their gender. They pushed the boundaries of what is possible in tennis and ignited discussions about equality in sports. So the next time you're watching a tennis match, remember the pioneers like Billie Jean King, Martina Navratilova, and the Williams sisters, who blazed a trail for female athletes. And keep an eye on rising stars like Ghazouani Durand, who'd continue to inspire us all. In conclusion, the battle of the sexes in professional tennis has provided us with unforgettable moments, shocking upsets, and a reminder that talent knows no gender. It's a legacy that continues to shape the sport we love. And that's what makes tennis great. Men and women competing against each other. And they also compete with each other when playing mixed tennis, which is also a special time in the sport.